details.
That's right. We're seeing quite this feud shaping up here between Senator Elizabeth Warren, of course, Democratic presidential candidate, and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. So here's how this all kind of went down. In July, Facebook has weekly all-hands-on meetings with internal employees, and these are meant to be meetings where employees can speak with executives, voice any concerns that they have. And what happened was, it sounds like an employee at that meeting recorded some audio and leaked it to The Verge, which is a tech publication. Now, yesterday, The Verge published a transcription of that audio and released some clips as well, particularly one of the most offensive ones or, controversial was certainly Mark Zuckerberg calling out Elizabeth Warren's plan to break up big tech. Take a listen to exactly what he said in that audio.
Warren, who thinks that the right answer is to break up the companies, if she gets elected president, then I would bet that we will have a legal challenge, and I would bet that we will win the legal challenge. So does that still suck for us? Yeah.
So saying it wouldn't be great for us to be broken up, and ultimately saying he's going to take that legal challenge up. Facebook will fight against Senator Elizabeth Warren if she were president, and saying they have to go to the mat for the company here. Now, Elizabeth Warren, for her part, did not hesitate to strike back at Mark Zuckerberg yesterday. She released a series of tweets saying it's our job to break up big tech. Of course, she has a plan for that. That's one of her taglines. She has this whole kind of strategy. She said, if we don't fix a corrupt system that the giant companies like Facebook engage in illegal anti-competitive practices, they stomp on consumer privacy rights, and they fumble their responsibility to protect our democracy. So we're really neither side backing down in what's shaping up to be quite a heated feud here between these two, but it really does get to the heart of what is the right strategy when it comes to these tech companies. The overall public opinion sort of shifting to say maybe they need to be broken up, they need to be held more accountable. Mark Zuckerberg saying we're going to do our part and we're going to fight if we need to.
A hard fight legally is one thing, but a hard fight using all the weapons at Facebook's disposal is another. And we've seen the manipulation that can take place politically on Facebook. There's been a huge problem with that. And of course, there are many other apps that are connected up, WhatsApp, Messenger and Instagram. So whether Mark Zuckerberg is an independent arbitrator here of a huge content player would be questioned if any of those tools were deployed to take a hard fight to Elizabeth Warren.
It's a good point. And there was certainly a lot of kind of reaction yesterday about exactly the role that Facebook could have in electing or not electing Elizabeth Warren. And there's no denying that that is a reality, especially given what we saw with the 2016 presidential election. Now, what Elizabeth Warren is calling for in her plan is to break up Facebook, and specifically she has singled out WhatsApp and Instagram in that. Her whole point is that they would have less political influence, less control over not only just elections, but our privacy and other, parts of our social media profile online if we were to break them up. Obviously, that's an idea that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't agree with here.
Now, in terms of a reaction from the analyst community, we think about Facebook as a stock, regulatory uncertainty in this increasingly scrutinized sector. It's a clear focus for investors. But in this latest feud, does it change the story? And what's the reaction really been from the analyst community?
We have seen that despite all of this kind of negative commentary coming from whether it's Washington or regulators here in Europe, not a lot of impact on the stock. Facebook's stock has had a pretty good year, up more than 30% last I checked.
Do you think it's just a bit short term? I was reading one analyst report, and effectively they still saw the market dominance, the market share of Facebook, the advertising revenue, and thought, well, you can't beat that growth story. But we're just talking about the potential for a breakup if there happens to be more pushback from the White House, not to mention some of those growth plans. I mean, this is a company that needs to keep on growing at the same pace, and an alternative currency had been floated as an idea, but even overnight there were reports that maybe Visa and MasterCard, some of the original players in Libra, may not be so convinced to sign on anymore because of the political backlash that has been following that alternative currency proposal. So it's a narrative that's growing, isn't it? Which suggests that maybe the growth ambitions of Facebook could be clipped.
Yes. The key thing to look at here is how exactly it will affect future acquisitions, how it will affect plans like Libra, for example, and specifically areas where Facebook might have previously said we're going to go full on ahead. You even heard that a little bit in this leaked transcript yesterday. as far as how Mark Zuckerberg was referring to TikTok, which is, of course, a Chinese app that's been kind of taking a bigger share of Facebook, seen as a bit of an Instagram competitor with short-form videos. And Zuckerberg was a little bit more muted in how they're approaching that. He said they're looking at it closely. They're making sure that they can have some sort of competing tab on Instagram that would also kind of work like TikTok, but at the same time that he welcomes new entrants into the field. So even the language around kind of new competition, that certainly has changed given the landscape that we're seeing on all regulatory fronts here.
Now, Zuckerberg, I understand, also touched on why he hasn't testified in other countries, because it's not just the U.S. who's scrutinizing Facebook, but lots of places around the world. So what did he have to say about that?
This was a really interesting part of the transcript. He did not hold back in saying, I'm not going to show up at every hearing. And we know that there was a lot of drama here in the UK.
In every country in the world.
That's right. He said we're not accountable to every regulator in every country, which is a real debate happening. Certainly the UK regulators, which wanted him to testify in front of Parliament, would say differently, and instead they sent a policy chief to talk about many of those Cambridge Analytica fallouts that were happening throughout here.
Eyeballs, happy to take the money, but not happy to testify in the country is the message that comes through.
That's the message that we hear from those lawmakers, at least.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.